You're about to discover how to supercharge your memory to remember what you study like the world's smartest people. This time, we'll use a technique that very few others teach, but it's so simple and so much fun that you'll wonder why it seems to be a secret. In fact, you'll amaze yourself with your own memory power. That's because when you stay tuned to the end, we're going to put this technique into practice so you can prove to yourself just how well it works for you. Hi, your favorite Uncle Matt back with you, and in part 1, we learned that one of the biggest reasons you and others have trouble remembering things is that most people don't have a good mental filing system. I often talk about the pile versus the file. When you learn new information, it's like throwing a sheet of paper on the floor of an empty room. As you learn more, the pile gets bigger. At first, it's easy to retrieve the information you need because it's pretty close to the top of the pile. However, as you learn more and more, the pile continues to grow. Eventually, the pile becomes really big and it becomes harder and harder to retrieve specific information. If you took the time and effort to put the papers into filing cabinets, then you can easily retrieve what you need. The idea is you need to put the information in a place where you can find it when you need it. So in part 1, we learned about creating a memory map. Some people call it a memory palace. You can use any room to store at least 10 places: 4 corners, 4 walls, the ceiling, and the floor. Many times, each item stored in your memory map will likely have a list of features, benefits, or functions of its own that you'll also need to remember. For example, in part 1, we memorized the 12 major systems of the human body by placing representative images around the room. However, each major system has its own list of functions that you'll want to memorize. The way you'll recall this new information is with a technique I call chaining. Just like a physical chain in the real world, where each link is connected to the next, we're going to create a chain of mental images. So instead of connecting our reminder images to an external location, like a place in our room, we're going to connect each item to the one before it. To get us started, I'm going to use an oversimplified example so you can get the idea. Then we'll go back to the major systems of the human body and do it with one of them. This is a story I used in a couple of previous videos when I was first teaching my daughter, who was only about 5 years old at the time, to develop her powers of observation and memory. One day, while sitting on a bench next to the beach, we decided to name things that could be up in the sky. Each of us took turns adding something to the list, and we had to remember the entire list as we went along. I started and said sun. She said sun, moon. I said sun, moon, star. She said sun, moon, star, cloud, and we continued. Here's a list of 10 things that could be up in the sky: sun, moon, star, cloud, bird, airplane, parasail, raindrop, snowflake, volleyball. This one will be pretty easy to make a memory chain with. The starting place is the sky, with the sun shining. It's easy to imagine the sun turning into the moon. Then the moon gets struck by a star. The star shatters and dissolves into a cloud. Out of the cloud flies a bird. The bird morphs into an airplane. Out of the airplane, somebody jumps with a parasail. The parasail falls apart when it gets rained on. The falling raindrops freeze into snowflakes on their way down. The flakes morph into volleyballs as they fall to the ground to be used by players on the beach. Let's review. Sun turns to moon. Moon hit by a star. Star dissolves into a cloud. Out of the cloud flies a bird. Bird turns into a plane. Someone jumps from the plane with a parasail. Parasail falls apart because of heavy rain. Raindrops freeze into snowflakes. Snowflakes turn into volleyballs. Recite the list. sun, moon, star, cloud, bird, plane, parasail, raindrop, snowflake, volleyball. Okay, good. Let me ask, what came before and after the bird? Right, the cloud came before and the airplane after. You see, the system of chaining allows you to go forwards and backwards in the story, but always keeping the same order. It doesn't matter if you got them all just now or not, because we didn't take time to review the list. When you're actually using this idea to study, instead of rote learning, which is blind repetition, you'll use visual repetition of your image chain. By the way, if you're serious about developing a super powerful memory and want all the lessons together in one place so that you can easily review them on your smartphone in bite-sized chunks, you will likely want my memory training course called How to Have an Incredible Memory. The link for my course is in the description below my video. Let's go back to the major systems in the human body. We'll use the chaining technique to recall the functions of the skeletal system. It provides the structural framework for the body. It protects internal organs. It provides leverage for movement. It acts as a place for mineral storage. And it's where production of red and white blood cells and platelets happen. Let's convert each of those functions into a representative image and link them together in a chain. We start with imagining a skeleton, and then add the first link of the chain. Structure. Picture your bones turning into steel girders. Protect. A cage of steel girders protecting your heart. Leverage. Your heart pushing down on a lever. Storage. The lever lifting up a storage shed. Production. Inside the storage shed is a lab producing blood. Quick review. Bones become steel girders. Steel cage protects the organ like the heart. The heart pushes down on a lever. The lever lifts up the storage shed. Inside the storage shed is a lab producing blood cells. With the chaining technique, all you need is a place to start your chain in order to remember the next items. Here, we started with the skeletal system. This is an ideal memory system where it's not only important to recall all the items on the list, but also the specific order. For example, if your task was to recall the 7 longest rivers on Earth in order of length, or the 10 most populated countries with the largest one first, then using the chaining system will provide you with an easy way to do it. Combining a memory map together with the process of chaining gives you the ability to store vast amounts of information in a rapid and organized fashion. A map of 10, 15, or 20 locations will render that many chains. Periodically review your map and the items in each chain, and you'll be able to memorize what you study like the world's smartest people. For help turning difficult or technical vocabulary into images, be sure to watch my video on that subject. And check out this other video that YouTube has specifically recommended for you. I'll look forward to seeing you on my other videos soon.